Hi guys, my name is Hiroman and today I will be teaching you how to write a Java program to address a library management service using method call, do while loop and conditional statements, that is if, else if and switch case. You try to write the Java program by your own by watching the video till the end, because if you don't know how to write a Java program by your own, then you will be in serious trouble when you will be going for higher studies. So try to write a Java program by your own. Try to grasp the concepts as much as you can in these low classes. Watch the video till the end. If you have any queries and if you want to ask me something, you can connect with me in the profile links that I have shared in the description. You can ask me if you have any queries in the comment section. Watch the video and let me know how you want to write another program, or what is the next project that you want me to write for you. Into the code and what are the technologies and what we are going to use in our program. So we are basically addressing the problem library management service that would manage the library management service would manage the functionalities like how we can add a book to the store, or we can add a book to the library. We can also add we can also issue a book, issuing a book. We can also, suppose we want to return a book after you have issued a book to someone, after 10 days suppose we are going to return that book, so return a book. We can also search a book. So these are the common functionalities that library management service can deal with. So in order to interact with the user, we have to design our code in such a way that it interacts with the user with the help of terminal window, and everything will be done with the help of console input. By console input, I mean to say the user would be giving the inputs in the terminal window. So in the terminal window, there would be an exchange of information between our program and between the user. In the terminal window, the user would give inputs, and the output would be printed on the terminal window. Terminal window will be getting us the outputs, and you have to, after executing the program, you have to take a printout or a screenshot maybe of the terminal window, the input and output whole thing. What is the input you are giving and what is the output? That thing you might be giving or might be attaching to your project or the channel file that you are designing for your school project. So what would be the approach to design this service? So each of these methods, adding a book or issuing a book or returning a book, we would be breaking this 4 functionalities into 4 methods or maybe more. Okay, so actually this individual functionalities would be dealing with some particular logic that is different from issuing a book. Add a book to the library is different from issuing a book, and similarly it is different from returning a book, and similarly it is different from searching a book. What are the concepts that we would be using in this program? Concept is normal conditional statements, if, else, if. Okay, I have also used switch case because it's a menu driven program, so you have to give a choice, and based on the choice the particular method would be called. Suppose the choice is 1, then adding a book would be called. Suppose the choice is 2, then the logic would be invoked that is responsible for issuing a book, and if we press 3, then suppose returning a book would occur. That functionality would be addressed. So we have used switch case, we have used a if, else, if, we have used switch case, we have used do while loop. Because why do while? You might be aware of the loops that is used in Java. The loops are for while loop, and do while loop. And also there is another concept of recursion that is a bit complex, and that we are not concerned about right now. So for loop, while loop and do while loop, these loops are based on a condition, and they run until that condition becomes false, or till that condition is true. The loop would be executed, the body of the loop would be executed. Else, when the condition becomes false, the loop of the body loop would not be executed. So in do while loop, what happens? Do while loop is preferred in those situations when the number of times the loop would be executed is unknown. We don't know how many times the user would be using this library management service, right? We don't know that how many books the librarian is going to add to the library. We don't know how many books should be issued in a particular day, or we are unaware of how many persons are going to return the book to the library, or how many persons are going to search. It is totally unpredictable. Today there might be 500 people coming to my library, there might be 1,000 people coming the next day, or the third day maybe 20. So it's totally unpredictable. We don't know how many times the loop would be executed. So in that particular scenario, the do while loop is the most favorite loop. But you can also do the same thing with while and for. There is only syntactical changes that is required to implement, but the most fundamental and most efficient or most appropriate syntax that is of do while loop for this particular purpose, when we don't know how many times the loop would be executed. And there would be another option, that is if we press 5, then the service would get exited. So we would exit the particular functionality, or the program would terminate, just prompting us that thank you for using the application maybe. So for if we press 5, if our choice is 5, then we are exiting the application. So this is the main outline of our project, how the program is behaving, what are the functionalities, where the main operations are taking place. It is taking place in the terminal window. We will be using console input. There are two methods now that helps us to take console input. One is the BufferedReader. We use the BufferedReader class of IO package, or we can also use scanner class of util package. These both classes are used to take console input, take the input from the terminal window. So this whole thing will be done in BlueJ. So BlueJ is a software that helps us to run Java programs. So it has its own terminal window. And if you have only JDK installed, not BlueJ, then we can also go to command prompt and run the Java command, Java command to run a particular Java file. Then the same thing would be executed in the command prompt also, that I would be showing you at the last. So this whole thing will be taking place in the terminal command prompt window, or the terminal window of BlueJ. These are the concepts: if, else, if, switch case, do while. These things we would be using, and this is the main functionality. So let's hop over to the code. So this is the class that I have made. This is the library manager. Library manager is class is responsible. And this is my calculator is something else that we will be covering in the next video, or might be in another video. Please let me know if you are interested in learning how to design a calculator, scientific calculator. Okay, so first let's focus on library manager. So this class is designed to address library management service. What I have done, and another thing, I have also used arrays. Arrays are very much needed in this kind of scenarios. Arrays are homogeneous data types, are homogeneous storage units where we can store multiple data types, but they must be of the same type. This is the main concept of arrays. It might be an integer array that would be storing only integers. It might be a string array that might be storing only strings, and so on. That can be of any data type, but the data type must be fixed for a particular array. So hopping over to the code. So I have imported the IO package, io.star, import java.io.star. IO is a package. What is a package? A package is a collection of classes, and .star is written here because we want to include all the classes that is written in IO package. So we have written io.star. I have also used another package from the time package. I have used local date class. So that's why I have mentioned import java.localDate. This I have used because the return date functionality, when we return a book functionality, when a particular person is trying to return a book, or a book is being issued by the librarian of the library, then the issue date would be there, and the return date would be plus 10 from the issue date, and the local date, the date, current date would be the local date, and plus 10 would be the return date. So for this logic I have used local date class that is written in time package of Java. Okay, so these are the instance variables that I am using. I have used instance variable integer x, I have used a buffer reader variable r, and an array books, authors is available, book count. So one by one I would be saying what is the purpose of using each of the variables. So BufferedReader class, the variable is r. BufferedReader is a class of a IO package that helps us to take console input and also helps us to read from the terminal window. So that is the purpose of this variable. Books is an array that would be storing the names of the books. Array that would be storing the names of the books. Authors would be the array that would be storing the name of the authors of the corresponding books. Suppose the first book that is stored in books array, the author of that book would be stored in the first position of authors array. And this is a boolean array. This stores the status whether the book is available for issuing to a person or not. Suppose you have issued a book to a person, then that book would be unavailable, because if another person wants to issue that book, want to take that book to his home, then he would not be available because person A has already taken their book. So this is a flag variable. This is an indicator variable. This indicates whether that book is available in the library or not. If someone has taken it, then it would be false. If someone has not taken it, is present in the library, it would be true. So this stores, this variable, this array variable is available, stores the status of the corresponding books, true or false. True means it is available in the library, false means it is not available in the library. And this variable is responsible for counting the number of books. Suppose if I add a book, the count would be 1, the count would be 0, plus 1, minus 1 would be plus 1 as 0. Then again if I add another book, then the count would be 2, or sorry, from 0 to 1, then 1 to 2, then so on. So the count would be the index, the last index of the book item. Okay, why I have started from minus 1? Because if I increase my value of book count by 1, then it will be 0, and we know that the index of an array starts from 0. So I have stored it as minus 1. When the first book would be entered in the array, then it would be 0. The second book, then it would be 1. If the third book is entered in the library, then it would be 2, and so on. So this is the main method. See public static void main. And for a main method, inside the main method, the variables that we would be using, that must also be static, because it is a static method, and the variables should also be static. So this is the main purpose why I have used the instance variables as static. So I have taken the main method, and let me just brief about a main method. What is the purpose of a main method? We write a main method inside a program, Java program, because the main method is that method which is executed by the operating system when the program is run. Okay, if we run a Java program by using the Java command in the terminal window or in the command prompt, then the operating system runs the main method of that class. The main method of that class can also be visualized as the brain of a human body. Okay, just as the brain decides which part would be functioning which way, so the main method also decides how to execute that program, and the execution starts from the main method. So it is the heart, or it is the brain of the class. So inside the main method, I have instantiated the BufferedReader object. The BufferedReader object would be used to take console input. I have initialized the arrays with a maximum size of 500. I have taken that maximum 500 items can be inserted in that array. Just it is a approximation. You can also make it 1000, and that is not an issue. Just as an maximum approach, I have taken that 500 books is enough in my library. The main full capacity in my library is 500, not more than that. Okay, I have taken a flag variable true, and this do while loop ends here, and the while loop would be executed till this flag variable is true. Whenever we write any condition inside that flag, inside that while, it returns something true or false. So I have directly given that variable flag. That means if flag variable's value is true, then the while loop condition is true. That means the loop would be executed. When this flag variable's value would become false, then the loop would get terminated. Okay, so this is the do while loop condition. Inside that condition, I have given the flag variable whose value I have initially stored as true. That means the loop would be executed. It can only be terminated, it can only be stopped when I explicitly or forcefully set that flag value as false, and that I have done when the person would press 5 to exit. So this is just the menu that I have printed, system order printer. This is the design, just a design to get it a perfect format in the terminal window. I have printed the menu. Press or enter 1 for adding a book to the library, enter 2 for searching a book, enter 3 for issuing a new book, enter 4 for returning a book, press 5 for exiting. And I have given a line separator to get it a better view in the terminal window. Okay, so I have taken an input choice from the BufferedReader readLine method. This readLine method reads a line from the terminal window and it returns as a string, and that string is parsed or converted into an integer with the help of parseInt method of wrapper class, integer wrapper class. The integer wrapper class parseInt, it converts a string parameter or string input into an integer. That is the choice. And I have used switch case to call the respective methods. Just I was saying you that for each functionality I have used each method. For adding a book, I have used or designed a book, designed a method that is add new book. For searching, I have used search book. For issuing a book, I have written issue book method. For returning a book, I have written return book method. And if we have pressed 5, then the flag variable would be set false, and if I have given any other choice, then it would be wrong choice. Just a prompt in the window, and again that menu would be printed because it is under the loop. So if someone presses 5, then the flag variable value would be set false, and this condition would become false, and so the loop will get terminated, and these two system ordered println would be printed, application terminated, thank you. The program ends here if someone presses 5. But suppose if someone presses 1, then this add new book method would be called, that is written here. So here I have written that please enter a book you want to add. I have taken that input and I have stored it in the array. Please note that I have used pre-increment operator here, plus book count. Why I have done it? Because initially the value is -1. That means if I want to store a value in the array, it must be incremented by 1 from -1 to 0. Then the next value would be stored from 0 to 1. So for that I have used plus in the beginning, since I have initialized it as -1. So first the value would be incremented, then the value would be used. That is the main concept of pre-increment operator. Okay, so if I do plus book count, that means first the value would be incremented and then the value would be used. If we read a line from the console, that line would be read as a string and it would be stored in the books array. Next I have also taken input the name of the author of the book that I want to add, and I also stored it in authors array. And in the is available array I have stored the flag variable as true. If I add a new book to the library, the status of the book would be true because it is available. Just I have inserted the book in the library shelf, so it would be available for any user to take it home. So that's why I have stored it as true. So this is the functionality of add new book. Next, what is the work of search book? If the person presses 2 as a choice, then the search book functionality would be invoked. The search book, what I have done, I have given a prompt to the user to enter the book that I want to search. I have read that book from the console by readLine method, and then I have searched using linear search technique. Linear search technique helps us to find a particular item in the book, in the array. So here I have searched that particular item that I have taken input in that array, whether it is present or not. If it is present, if that book, if the book name equals the name of the item, name of the book, if I enter the name of the book and that matches with the value in the array, then what I have done, I have read the status whether it is true or not. If it is available, it is available. If it is true, I have stored as yes, and if it is not available, I have stored it as no. So now I have printed that the book is found and the author name is this one, and the status availability is true or false or yes or no, that is being printed. And if it is found, I have kept the flag variable as true, and I have printed if it is not. If not, if means it is not true. If it is not true, that means the book is not found in the array, then I have printed that the book is not present in the library. So this is a linear search technique that I have utilized to search an item in the array. If it is found, well and good, I have printed the status of the book in the we have printed the status of the book, the name of the author, the name of the book, and the status, availability status. And if it is not found, then I have printed that book is not present in the library. Case is 3, that if the user enters 3 as a choice, then issue book functionality will be invoked. The issue book functionality is a bit large one. You can see the number of codes is also, number of lines of code is larger one. It is using a loop that is iterating on the name of the book that you want to issue. First we will be checking that the book is available or not, whether you can take that book or not, because if you want to issue a book and that book is already taken by someone, then it would not be issued to you. So first I have checked whether that book is available in the library or not. If it is available, I have checked whether it is available to issue or not. If it is true, that means it is, this flag variable is true, that means the book is available for anyone to take it home, it is available to issue. So then I have given a prompt to enter the name of the member, given a prompt to enter the member ID. Each library has a particular procedure of maintaining the member, so member ID is there. So I have given a prompt to enter the member ID, and then I have also generated a return date when the member should return that book. Local date dot now gives us the current date, today's date. The program is running, and the time on and the date at which it is running in the operating system, that particular date is being returned by this method local date dot now plus, and this method plus days adds this parameter to that particular date. Plus 10 means from today's date, plus 10 would be the return date. So that is the return date. So I have also printed the return date. Okay, so here is the print statement that prints the book. This book is issued to this person whose ID is this one and whose return date is this. Okay, and when I have already issued this book to someone, then the availability status should be set to false, because if I don't do it, then any other person searching for that book would be seeing that it is available, but that is not the case. If it is already being taken by someone home, it is already taken by someone, so the status should be set as false, so there would be a correct execution to avoid any logical error. And then I have used this flag variable set true, so we get it broken here. If it is not, if not, if means if the value is false, and if the availability of the book is not, if the book is not available, or if the book is already taken by someone, then the value would be set to false only. And not, if not false means if true, then the book is not in the library. That means the book is not, the name that the person has entered, that book itself has not been added to the library, so cannot be issued. So this is the main issue book logic. Okay, and the last is the return book functionality. What happens when a person tries to return a book? Then this return book method would be invoked. So there is a prompt to enter the name of the book that the person wants to return, and have read that from the console, stored it in item variable. Then I have iterated and checked whether that item equals the items in the array or not, and also the availability status is false or not. If someone has taken that book and he wants to return it, that means the availability status should be false. So I have used the and operator and I have cascaded two conditions, that it is present in the array and also the availability is false. Then only I would set that availability to true, because the person is returning that book. So he is returning back to the library. Again that book is becoming available for someone to pick up. So I have set the availability status as true and have still printed that thanks for returning, and I've set a flag variable true. And similarly, if the flag variable is false, then there would be some problem encountered. There might be a situation that when the book is entered that is not available in the library, or if someone has entered that book name that is already available in the library, so there is a prompt that either you have entered a wrong book or the book is already returned. So this is the functionality. So this is the functionality. So this is the functionality of returning a book. Okay. So let's run the program and see what is the output. So see, first the menu is printed. Enter 1 for adding a book, enter 2 for searching a book, enter 3 for issuing a book, enter 4 for returning a book, enter 5 to exit. Suppose I want to enter a book. So it is giving a prompt that enter the name of the book you want to add. Suppose I want to add elements of physics. Now it is prompting us to enter the name of the author. Suppose K. Kahani is the author of the book. So the book is added and again the menu is printed. So this is the do while loop. It is keeping on the loop. The loop is executing continuously in a loop until we are pressing 5 to exit. Suppose I want to add another book, that is I pressed 1 and I want to add organic chemistry as the book, and the name of the author is K.L. Chuk. Suppose I want to search a book whether that book is present or not. Suppose I want to search whether elements of physics is present or not. Since I have added elements of physics, that means that it is present in the library. So let's see what is being printed. Yep, it is found. The author name is K. Kahani. The availability is yes. Yes, I can take this book. So since it is available, suppose I want to issue that book. So I want to issue, I am pressing 3 as my choice. Now I have to enter the name of the book that I want to issue. So I want to read physics. So I am writing the name of the book, Elements of Physics. Enter the member. Since it is available, availability status is yes, so it is asking me to give the name of the member. If it was not available, then I won't be able to issue that book. That case we would be seeing that case just after issuing that book, that if the availability status becomes no, then what happens. So first let me register this book to my name. Enter the name Urmay Goswami. Enter the member ID. Suppose my member ID is this. So book element of physics issued to Hiranmay, ID is this one. Return date is 10/27. Today's date is 17/10 and plus 10 means 27th October 2021 is my return date. If I don't return it on time, I would be fined, might be. So now let me issue this book again, and suppose Jyotirmoy wants to take this book home, and he has asked the librarian that Elements of Physics is the book that I want. So the librarian checks the name of the book, Elements of Physics. Let's see what happens. Elements of Physics is not available. The book is not available because just now Hiranmoy has already taken that book home. So it is not available. If you want to search that book, you will see the status that it is not available. The availability status is set as false. It will be printed as no. Elements of Physics. Yep, book is found. Author name is K. Kahani, but availability is no. Someone has already taken that book home. Okay. Suppose I want to return that book. Enter the name of the book that you want to return. Elements of Physics. Thanks for returning. I have returned that book. Since the book was already being issued to me and I have returned it, and it has again set the availability as yes. Let me check what is the availability now of the book. Elements of Physics again. See, the availability is set as yes, because when someone has returned that book, the availability will be set as true. That means yes would be printed. Suppose I want to exit. Today is the day end, no more customers in my library, so tata, goodbye. So the application is terminated. Thank you. So this is the execution of the program. So everything is taking place in the terminal window. Just as I said, it will be executed in terminal window. User will be giving inputs and output. Everything interaction will taking place in the terminal window. The concepts that I have used is arrays, do while loop, switch case, if else if statements, conditional statements. I have also used ternary operators, pre-increment, post-increment operators, and these are the functions, the functionalities of the library management service. Hope you have understood that problem. If you have any queries, just ping me in my comment section, or you can also connect to me with the profile links that I have shared in the description. If you want to learn something more, some more things about Java, then ping me in my profiles. You can message me or you can contact me to get a complete insightful training on Java. Okay guys, subscribe, and very soon I would be posting a video on calculator. I'm already working on a scientific calculator program, and so I can show you guys how to design a scientific calculator just as a menu driven output or menu driven program. Subscribe my channel. Hope you have learned something new, and always try to learn something new and try to code by your own. Don't try to copy from others. Stay safe, stay healthy. Bye.